Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. Mediocrity in Nigeria has had a profound impact on the country's development, affecting governance, institutions, and societal progress. It manifests in a culture that often prioritizes mediocrity over excellence, stifling innovation, reducing productivity, and perpetuating a circle of underachievement. Now, this culture has been linked to systemic corruption, a lack of meritocracy, and also inadequate investment in education and infrastructure. It's another beautiful episode of your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name remains Ostayuwame Saleh, and tonight I'd like to shine the light on mediocrity and the impact it's having on our great nation, Nigeria. Now remember, Ways is all about you. You are the why in Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single episode and add your voice to the discussion. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at Official Upgrade TV. Hit that subscribe button, like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the show right now. When I open the phone lines, I would really love to hear what you have to say on this topic of mediocrity, right? And how much it's impacting our nation. So as I attempt to explore the topic tonight, let's ponder on what I found as my quote for the day. Now it says, when small men attempt great enterprises, they always end by reducing them to the level of their mediocrity. Think very deeply of this quote. So I'll delve into this burning topic for the day. But first, I'm off on a break. When I come back, I'll let you in on my news interest for today.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, thanks for staying tuned, right? And you're still watching Ways now. Mother of the man that severed the a girl's youth corps member's head, right? Severed her, and of course he's in custody, police custody. You know, yesterday I took a story about the father saying he was pleading for the release of his son, that he should be pardoned and all of that. I was quite livid yesterday. But a report has come out that I found, and I thought it was important to also create a balance. So the mother of Timileyin Ajayi, she spoke out and she was saying that this is 8 days after Timileyin was arrested for allegedly murdering, his girlfriend, in quote. The father, of course, as I'd mentioned, had pleaded for leniency, while his mother has expressed willingness to let the government authorities handle the case. I mean, I think this is the most fair thing to do, right? I get it. No one would wish. I have 2 grown-up kids, and I know how much, I always pray for them to always make the right decisions, do the right things, and all of that. So, God forbid anything, like something comes and they say, oh, this person, it's going to be hurtful. It's going to be painful for me to watch maybe them being punished or whatever it is. However, right, it is also in that moment that we understand that, yes, some of the things that we've been crying and shouting about, Nigerian leaders, our government and all of that, when those kind of little things or great things in this instance test us, that's when our true nature comes out. And that was part of my anger yesterday when the father was pleading that the boy be released. Now, this is the best approach for it, as far as I'm concerned, right? It is painful. She carried the boy for 9 months in her womb, yes. But there is a crime that has been committed. If there is a crime that has been committed, the boy has admitted to that crime, then he must also take responsibility for his actions. Part of how I train my children, right? I don't tell them to go and read. Because if you do not read your book, there's a direct consequence. You'll fail in your grades. You might have to repeat classes and all of that. Until we learn, as parents, it's a painful thing. It's tough love. Until we learn as parents to be able to teach our children, owning up and, taking responsibilities for their decisions that they make or indecisions that they don't make, or their actions and inactions, whatever it is, we need to let them take ownership. So I'm happy that the mother came out so it was important for me to also balance the story. She has come out to say that let the law or government authorities, let them handle the case. And of course, it's almost like, let's say, let the law prevail. So I'm happy about this, and I thought, I'll take that as my first story for today. Okay, so I'll move on to Rivers State. So you know that since the emergence of Sim Fubara as governor of Rivers State, there has just been one issue or the other with his, would I call it estranged successor, estranged godfather, because you must give it to Wike. I mean, based on all the stories that I heard about Rivers State and I read also in the news, Wike had a major role. He played a very pivotal role in selection of Sim Fubara as the governor of Rivers State. So little wonder, some of this, the back and forth on, authority and all of that had been happening. So yeah, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is currently, according to the report that, was sent in by Punch, is currently in a closed-door meeting with the governor, of course, Sim Fubara, and also some of the leaders in Ogoni land. Although Fubara and the Ogoli delegation arrived, earlier at the council chamber of the State House, Punch correspondent gathered that, official vehicle of the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, also arrived much later at about 2:45 p.m. From this picture, the Rivers people that are my friends have told me that most of these Ogoli leaders, in quote, most of them are Wike's people. So technically, they think that Sim Fubara is maybe caving into that pressure and might just want to, apologize and find a way to meet a middle ground and all of that. Because from the report that I hear, I think about last year, the Ogoni people came to Wike to say that, they've not had an Ogoni governor, blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, okay, I think I'm going to consider it. So whatever it is that is going on here, I would always say that for the sake of governance and for the sake of moving forward, it is always important for us to embrace peace no matter what. If this would help resolve the issue, please, by all means. We need that issue resolved. So my final story that I'm going to touch on today, hey, you see what is happening in the US? Because I saw several TikTok videos about conspiracy, why TikTok was banned. A lot of people did some videos. They said, so TikTok was banned because I think it was that day or something that President Trump was going to release the cryptocurrency, blah, blah, blah. So they ban it, and all of that. Bottom line is that a cryptocurrency was birthed, right? So the digital token known as Trump, right, which launched on Friday, saw its price jump from less than $10 on Saturday to a peak of $74.59 before adjusting slightly yesterday. Now, so according to Reuters, the surge in the Trump value came just ahead of Trump's return to the White House. The token's rise drew attention, with trading volume hitting billions of dollars. This is really, really obscene. So as it stands now, right, Trump's cryptocurrency is valued right now. The market value is at $10 billion. And a wife, no, they sleep. Melania also launched her, her own crypto called Melania, and her market value also has soared beyond $1 billion. The Trump organization confirmed that most of the Trump tokens are owned by CIC Digital, a Trump-affiliated company, and Flight, another entity related to President's business. The coins are described as symbol of support for Trump's deals and are intended as investments or security. The launch of these cryptocurrencies, of course, has raised concerns within the crypto industry, which experts are questioning the ethical and regulatory implications. So while it's tempting to dismiss this as just another Trump spectacle, the launch of the official Trump token opens up a Pandora box of ethical and regulatory questions, and this was from a crypto analyst that is based in Hong Kong, Justin the Anthan, right? So, I mean, from what you could tell, the body language of President Donald Trump and his wife, the First Lady, Melania, right? You can tell that these people, this time around, they know the joke. They came for business. Even with that, that her hat that she wore at the inauguration yesterday that was just buzzing all over the place. You can tell that these people mean business. I'm not really particularly very savvy when it comes to the crypto world. And that's why I have not been, involved in anything cryptocurrency. But for those that are in the crypto world, I think the people that bought those coins will just be smiling right now to the bank, depending on what it is that they got. But hey, it's business, and we're moving strongly into a very, very strong digital world. So yeah, if you understand it, please take advantage of it. For some of us I think I'll still be in the traditional side when it comes to my finances. I'm not really, except maybe I can get somebody that will really teach cryptocurrency for me and pretend like I'm a dummy. When I now understand it, it might just be easy for me to do it. But I think this, this was really worth talking about. 10 billion and 1 billion, that's a lot. All right, I'll take a break now. When we come back from that break, we'll have our conversation around mediocrity. Stay with us.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
So I don't know how many feathers I'm going to ruffle tonight, but I want us to think deeply about this topic. It's so interesting that I had pre-planned my topic last week, right? And I kept on saying that I really want to talk on the subject. If you notice, I touched on it last week. What's it called? I think it was Tuesday or Thursday. I can't remember, one of those days, right? But I just said, you know what? I think we should go full-blown mediocrity because it is definitely a big issue and it has to be, it has to be spoken about. Because again, on the show, we are meant to touch on topics as it affects us all and just really touch on those things that are the core of why we are where we are as a people. So when I saw this businesswoman, of course, she's a female leader in Nigeria, Okonjo, right? I think she had done a video and she was talking about there's so much mediocrity in Nigeria and therein lies the opportunity. So if you dare to stand out and if you dare to do something with some level of excellence, you will truly stand out. And I've noticed it, even with us, with our small company, we try as much as possible within the things that are within our control, we try as much as possible to give and deliver excellent work. Because honestly speaking, there's so much going on around Nigeria. So let me start by saying that mediocrity often arises from systemic issues like nepotism and corruption, where connections matter more than competence. Are you seeing that? So to tackle this, there must be a societal reorientation towards rewarding skill and hard work over favoritism. And that is just the honest truth. So I don't have a problem with you saying that, you want to hand maybe a project to your family member. I'll give you an example. When we were going to build one of our properties, right, I remember having a conversation and I said, see, my dad would be the best person to build. First of all, the land was not particularly solid, but I understood that whoever would build that property needed to understand that there would not be compromises. And I can tell you for free, right, if you go to that property to date, right, there's a property right next to it. You can see the clear difference. So I don't have a problem with you saying you want to give products jobs and whatever to your friends, to your family, as long as that friend or that family is competent to be able to deliver the job, right? So we must be intentional about rewarding skills and hard work over favoritism. So in leadership, right, mediocrity is a direct result of poor political systems that do not prioritize merit. And for instance, ineffective policy implementation stems from appointing unqualified individuals to critical roles. Imagine us, see all the journey, what we're going through today in our political system, continuously putting some, it's only very few people that we've actually had that are like square pegs in square holes when it comes to political appointments, right, or putting people in offices, right, because again, that is what has really, really caused some of the challenges that we're having. You don't have people that understand and are qualified, for certain kinds of critical role. In Nigeria, for instance, our education, right, educational sector, the education sector, the healthcare sector, the infrastructural sector, that's, works, housing, and all of that. These are three critical sectors that I believe that if we're very conscious of putting merit, right, over just favoritism and all of that, and putting the right people in those roles would have probably gone very far when it comes to, the level of growth and development that we will be seeing in those sectors. So a merit-based selection process for leadership positions can really help address some of the issues. Now, over the years in Nigeria also, I've said it before, I will say it again, our educational system has been underfunded. It lacks a lot of innovation. The curriculum is just nothing to write home about, right? Our curriculum lacks innovation. That's all I can say. And if we really must, see anything meaningful or any meaningful progress to combat mediocrity in our educational sector, you see, we'll go back again. The right set of people need to be appointed. And of course, the government and private sectors must invest in educational reforms and, that of course would emphasize critical thinking, STEM education, and skills that are relevant for this 21st century, right? So it's not just enough to say, we empower them now, we are giving them free education. What are they learning in that classroom, right? What kind of free education are you giving? What kind of skill set are you preparing them for? Those are the things. So I really, really cannot understand why you walk into a government office and the next thing they will tell you, oh, that's what we done, they do them, right? I've said this several times about civil servants, how these people are the major culprits that we have when it comes to the retrogressive structure that we have in our country, where we are not even moving forward. Because why? There are some people that have made themselves principalities and powers that are staying there and saying that, now so we did one. Because if not, with the amount of education and the quality of minds that we have in Nigeria, imagine if we concentrated on STEM education, that's science, tech, engineering, mathematics. I think now they're even adding artificial intelligence. They call it STEAM and all of that. Imagine if we're intentional about deliberate curriculum that is, that is innovative. What do you think would happen to us, in the very, very near future? Not even with now that technology just makes life easy, right? So we have so embraced mediocrity that everything around us in Nigeria is affected. If we move to the culture of mediocrity within the workforce, right? Workforce. Like literally, you would employ people and you expect them to deliver excellent work, right? But that culture of mediocrity in the workforce, it leads to inefficiency and reduced global competitiveness. So if you are working in an organization, right, and you are not trying so hard to learn a new skill, improve yourself or anything, what you're doing is that you are just setting yourself for redundancy and you're putting yourself in a very, very terrible place because you cannot even raise your head when it comes to your peers in other parts of the world. So imagine if you prioritize capacity building, and this capacity building, it doesn't have to come with money. Because guess what? That is the beauty of the internet these days. I know how many things I have had to go online to go and learn, right? So many things are available and they're available for free. Imagine if Nigeria, our country, can harness this youthful population that we talk about, right? This is our beautiful, youthful population that we talk about to boost the productivity and innovation within our country. Just take a moment to imagine that and see how far we'll come. Because if we're not intentional about capacity building, and that's why some of us, especially me, in this country, I have a real problem to my stomach when I see programs that are organized by government parastatals and they call it empowerment program, but you cannot even measure the empowerment that is in that program, right? You say, oh, you are empowering people, you gather all of them in one place, but they are not tangible things you can point to say, you know what, this person was in point A and the person now has the capacity to do X, Y, Z just because of the exposure that we gave. If Nigeria was interested in real transformation, right, and we're not stuck up in this mediocre culture that we have come to embrace, we would have long ago, be intentional about harnessing our youthful population. And you see, productivity would have been up, innovative, creations all over the place would have been everywhere. The people that are innovative in other parts of the world, they don't get two heads. You understand? So mediocrity is often normalized due to, of course, lack of accountability. As we are now like this now, if I tell you, come and take account, okay, these people that you said, go and see all the programs that they try to do in government parastatals. I'll keep on using the government because, first of all, we need to understand that it's a systemic problem and it's a structural problem. And for us to solve that problem, we need to be able to identify the bodies that create those structures. And then that is where the change will happen, right? If we understand that there is accountability in everything we do, then it gives us the capacity to be cautious when it comes to anything that we want to do. We've normalized it, so we don't ask questions. We don't say, okay, how did this come about? They want to give out, like, you hear so many reports in the story. The other day, they say, oh, they want to give out, 5,000 naira to the poor and indigent in the society. I keep on asking the question. We don't have a population, an updated population census, right? How do you determine where are the places where you go to register, maybe in the unemployment bank or something to say, I've been unemployed for XYZ? Because I know in some countries, right, when COVID struck, in some countries, because they understood that a lot of people lost their job, they were able to track, they were able to trace those people, they were able to send checks to them in their homes. Nigeria has refused. I said it yesterday when I was talking about our lands with debt recovery complaints that our FCT minister had. And I said, until we are intentional about embracing technology, it's going to be very difficult for us as a people, right, to then find, sustainable structures that will, that outlives us. And you see, once you introduce technology into something, that it can be traced, which is what technology really practically does. Like, you can follow the technology and say, okay, yes. If you introduce technology, automatically, the issues around accountability would be, it will reduce a little bit, right? It will deplete, because once I'm able to say, you know what, I have 10 people that are logged into the system. And that was what, when Fashola was governor of Lagos State, right? I've said this story and I'll continue to say it because for as long as we have a few examples in this whole, in this whole system where mediocrity is thriving, we should keep on amplifying those examples. I remember when Lagos State Homes was built, the vision that then Governor Fashola had for Lagos State Homes was to ensure that it was people like you and I that had never owned a property in Lagos, that were first-time earners, and they were also taxpayers. So it was a simple thing. All you needed to do, go online, register, fill the form, put in your payer's ID, and of course, because your name, you understand, is not, because they would have done a background check. Once your name appears, once you put in your name, and there is a record of you owning any property in Lagos, automatically, you can't even go further with that application. Because those were the measures that were put in place. It was an attempt to keep the system accountable and to also fight this mediocrity that we're talking about. Right? So we need to be intentional about public campaigns and role models that are emphasizing the value of excellence and can challenge some of these norms that we have come to so embrace. They are not normal. We must inspire a collective desire, for improvement. And that was what Fashola had done with that project. Because he was tired of the norm. The norm before that time was, if the government finished a housing project, you just see one civil servant who just come, he'll buy everything, and now start to resell at sometimes even 3-4 times the price. And because they are civil servants, they kind of get some kind of concessions and kind of, and all of that. So it was easy for them to have access to some of these properties without even the public knowing anything. He said, no, we can't keep doing things like that. So that was how he cut off all of those things, right? Because he was emphasizing that this thing was meant for people that were truly first-time owners. He wanted to give people a reason to love Lagos. I'm a taxpayer. You wanted to have a reason to say, you know what, I love paying my taxes because these are the dividends of my taxes. But where is that program today? So promoting meritocracy, right, requires institutional reforms and, of course, strict enforcement of laws that prevent favoritism and corruption, which was exactly the example that I gave with Fashola, right? It was strictly on merit. I won one of those houses. I didn't need to know anybody. Everything I did it online. In fact, I was pleasantly shocked when I received the email that I had been selected, to be awarded one of the properties. All I needed to have was an updated tax record. So it was promoting merit. I needed to be a resident in Lagos, so I had my LASTRA registration. I needed to be a first-time buyer. I had not bought any property before that time in Lagos. And everything, because I ticked those boxes, right? Everything just went smoothly. There was nothing like favoritism. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew me. I didn't use any connection. Meanwhile, I knew some people that wanted to, because they had access to Fashola, they wanted to call him to say, you know what, this is what is going on. And he shut them down. So we really must be intentional, right? We need to be intentional about ensuring that if at all there will be any change in this country, this thing called mediocrity must die. For instance, you're ensuring that employment and promotions are based on qualifications and performance metrics, right? Look at what is happening in our private sector. That is why you see them thriving, right? If we are not intentional about what we're doing, we'll have a problem. I'll give an example, right? You see Nigerian tech startups. See how they are changing and challenging the global markets, becoming unicorns. Would we have ever had that before now, practicing this, I must know you, you must know me? They came and they disrupted the entire system. Since you have decided that you want to be gatekeepers, you want to be godfathers, and you say, you know what, if you don't come through me, you can never progress. They said, no problem, stay there. We'll go through another route. And the tech startups, they just completely disrupted global markets. So we are not just playing small, we're able to play globally. Why? Because it was based on performance metrics, qualifications. It was not about anything. Give an example of our athletes that are excelling internationally. So it shows you that Nigerians can achieve greatness when given the right environment. So if you were a right-thinking government, what should you be thinking about? If you truly, really are in love with your country and you truly care about your country and you truly want to change and transform the narrative about your country, what would you be thinking about? You'll be thinking about ways to create the right environment. Same Fashola's administration as governor. You couldn't go into a government office and you'll be spending long hours and sitting in reception and all of that because all of those things changed. So we have a leadership challenge in this country. And for us to change anything, we must be very intentional that we need to start pushing to kill some of these things. When somebody comes to you and they tell you, that's what they do, you must challenge that narrative. You must challenge that narrative. So, highlighting some of these successes, right, it can create a roadmap for a broader systemic reform. We need to be intentional. If a government comes to you and they say, vote for me, you are asking, why should I vote for you? How would you make things different? They should not just tell you, I'm building road. I'm going to build road. I'm going to give you light. No. How? Do you understand? How deeply do you understand the challenges? And how do you intend to change the environmental structure? Look at the business environment, for instance. What is going on? After all your hard work, somebody just wakes up, changes the policy without even thinking about the consequences, the number of jobs that will be lost on an already saturated market that is saturated with unemployment. I'll go on a very short break. When I come back from that break, I'm still going to delve in, right, more on the conversation because, again, it's not just, It's not just, the conversation is not just for us to talk sick. I want us to really sit back and think. And you see, whilst we're on this break, let's start to think, how am I contributing to this mediocrity? Because you see, if you are quiet about it, you're contributing. If you are talking about it, you're contributing. If you're not talking about it, you're contributing. If you're supporting it, you're contributing. So there is a positive contribution, there's a negative contribution. Any way you look at it. I'll see you after the break.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, thank you for staying tuned. Now, mediocrity is the focus on tonight's conversation and the impact of mediocrity, right? So I would say again that the impact of mediocrity is pervasive. It's stifling, it stifles progress, and it is undermining Nigeria's potential. Every time I keep on seeing some videos and they keep on saying potential, potential, potential. Can we move away from this potential and actually start to see materialization, right? So, so by prioritizing excellence, accountability, and long-term planning, the nation can begin to reverse some of these effects that we have, been grappled with, embracing and making mediocrity as part of our culture. So to join this conversation, please let me hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join. Send an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. The phone lines are also now open. The numbers to call are 07025007749, 07014242420. So I said, we want to hear what you have to say about this topic. I'm going to break down more on different subheadings, right? But before I do so, little errors here and there does not qualify for someone to just say, oh, this is mediocre and all of that. Because guess what? As long as we're human beings, there will always be errors. We always have errors here. Sometimes you see our lower third wrongly spelt and all of those things. What I'm trying to achieve tonight is the consciousness, right, of us understanding that let's think excellence first, right? I don't know how to explain it, but if you are thinking excellence first, they say, okay, aim for the universe. If you land in the sky, you're good, right? That is how it works. So if you're thinking excellence first, it means that for every time something is put in front of you, you're thinking of ways to ensure that this thing is well done. I remember that when my children were growing up, right, I always used to say, it was never about the grades. It was never about grades, even though I've been fortunate and blessed to have very, very intelligent children. Even if they came home with 9.5 over 10, the question I would always ask is, was this the best? Like, in your... And the truth is, if you give your best, even you would know that this one, I poured out my heart. I did everything that I could do. But this is... So as long as that result or the outcome, right, is as a result of your... Like, you have poured everything in terms of excellence, you thought through everything, and that is the result you're able to come up with, then I'm good with it. So I've not said that you must come out and be excellent at all times. But it is the mind that I want to go into this thing and I want to approach this problem or this challenge with excellence. That is what I am hoping this conversation will get people to start being conscious of, right? Look at leadership and governance failures that we're experiencing, for instance, right? Policy implementation. Many well-intended policies that we have, like very great policies, they're on paper. I mean, is it Vision 2020? Is it ease of doing business? You know, but all of these policies, they will keep on failing. They will fail because of poor execution and lack of competence amongst leaders that are tasked with implementation. So you have released the fund. You have said, okay, this is exactly what we need to do. Somebody just looks and says, I beg you, waiting, I beg you, we'll just do one like this. Eventually, a good intention becomes an eyesore. Why? Because it is not that we just need to have policies that are great. We need to also have the heart to say, you know what, as long as this is what I'm going to be doing, then I must apply excellence to it at all times, no matter how great or how little that project is. So the approach I always used to tell my children, whatever it is that you have done, did you put in your effort? Like you were conscious about making sure you made a lot of effort to make it work? If the answer is yes, and this is your outcome, I clap for you. Well done. Because it's not about the result. It's the fact that it was the effort, and the effort was done, with intentionality to succeed. Right? So imagine if we're intentional about some of these policies that we have put in place. Great policies. So it is this poor execution and lack of competence amongst the leaders that are tasked with implementations that we're having. Look at inconsistent leadership, for instance. Mediocre leaders often focus on short-term gains. So they will rather, just focus on what I can get now, rather than sustainable development, rather than leading to ensure that the future, even after I am gone, they would enjoy it. And all of these actions of these short-term gains, short wins, quick wins, microwave wins, right? We have a lot of stalled and failed projects. And that is why we're battling economic instability today. You will see in a budget what was awarded last year, the same thing will come. I gave an example. In 2018, we bid for a land that was owned by, it was a palm plantation in Osun State. I can never forget that story. Because I was called from the Ministry of Agric in Lagos to say, okay, come, we know you guys plant cassava and you plant palms in your farm. Come, we are calling together people that are like square pegs in square hole, that are farmers that of cassava and palm, because the Lagos State government had a palm and cassava farm in Osun State. And they said, come and bid, right? Bid for it. Everybody was bidding. They took us in a bus from Alausa. They took us to Osun State to go and inspect the land, see that everything was there as they said. We came back. Everywhere went quiet. The next thing, we're asking questions. Nobody was saying anything. The next year, upon the resumption of the new governor, the next thing I saw, headlines blasting all over the place. Literally that day I was in shock. I opened my mouth and said, now so the thing they be? They didn't even add a square, they didn't even add anything. It was the exact same square meter, 82 acres, I believe, or something, I can't remember now. Of palm, whatever that the Lagos State just acquired. I said, just acquired, Bao. You guys already owned that property. How come you're just acquiring it? So are you seeing where we're coming, right? Why we have a lot of projects that are not, that are almost, they've declared them, this one, redundant. Or you keep on seeing same project appearing in the budget. Why do you see all of these things? Because people are more focused on the short-term gains rather than how they can create sustainable development within the country. And what is bringing all of these things is mediocre leadership. We have mediocres as leaders. Some leaders are pure caricature. They are mediocres. And for as long as we continue to have that, it will continue to be a challenge, and the growth or whatever it is that we're trying to see in this country, it will take a while. Should we move towards the decline in the educational standards? Universities and schools are plagued by poor funding, unqualified teachers. Remember when we had a governor that said teachers to come and write exam, what was happening to them? And outdated. I'll keep on talking about the curriculum. Outdated curriculum. Now, this is also resulting, see the ripple effect? It's resulting in graduates who are often unprepared for the job market. I remember that, when I started nursing the idea of setting up a media academy, one of the things that I kept on saying is that, yes, we have a huge unemployment problem in Nigeria. But the truth is, in that huge number, the number that is, unemployable is even higher. Unemployment is a problem in Nigeria. The ones that are unemployable, that need to be retooled, reskilled. And so that is part of what drives the fact that if we truly must change and bring more self-sufficiency, reduce the amount of unemployment in Nigeria and all of that, we must be intentional about understanding where our problem lies. So from the foundation of the education, there's already a flawed foundation, from the outdated curricula to unqualified teachers to, of course, poor funding. And this has resulted in graduates who are not able to do anything because they are unprepared. Most of us went into school, we just cram and we pass. That is what we are doing. So there's a huge mass production of degrees, right? Over skill-based training. And this has also diluted the quality of education and undermined Nigeria's competitiveness globally. It's bad. The first time my sister ever went to the UK to study her first master's, she was weeping. This was somebody that almost graduated with the first class. She was sobbing, she was weeping. She said, I can't do this. The pressure is too much and all of that. Why? For the first time in her life, she was taxed to use her brain to produce an answer. So it was not about what the teacher wants to tell me, right? It was about, I need to read this thing, understand it, digest it, then now say it, how I understand it, interpret it in my own language. She couldn't do that because she was used to coming to class, read, cram it, and regurgitate. So we have a lot of mass-produced degrees, right? You know, as a country, we have infrastructural problems. I think it was Professor Oshibanjo that was trying. He made a stint attempt to want to start to intentionally bring about skill-based degrees where we focus on the challenges that we have in this country and then produce graduates that are trained and they are skilled to be able to solve those challenges. So we know we have an infrastructural challenge in Nigeria, for instance, right? And we're saying, okay, how do we get more civil engineers, more, structural engineers, more, all the engineers that would help in construction of better infrastructure. That is how the right-thinking government should be thinking. And if we don't do this, our competitiveness in Nigeria is going to, literally, we'll be nowhere when it comes to our ability to compete with our peers globally. In fact, we even start to compete with our peers in the continent first, before we even think globally, right? So this is a major issue within the educational sector. It's not about us just look at UNILAG the other day. They said they graduated about 500 first-class degree holders. They go finish first-class degree now. They will start to define work. Let's even see how that will play out. So if we're intentional about the quality, not just the quantity, the quality of what we're producing or who we are producing as graduates, I think we're now beginning to intentionally fight mediocrity within the country. I'll talk about inefficiencies when it comes to our public infrastructure. Now, major projects, I've mentioned it before, like roads, bridges, electricity. Those infrastructure are often poorly executed or abandoned due to what? Standard planning and corruption. Remember when I explained about how my dad abandoned a road construction project because he was asked to do a very shoddy job? Go and check it. You construct a road. There was a road that a particular governor, there was one governor, there was just building road everywhere. One rainy season, one. It didn't even in fact, the rainy cycle did not even complete. One. Sometimes even one rain that would just fall. All of a sudden, potholes and craters will just appear from everywhere. It's a result of mediocrity. Because somebody is supposed to ensure that the measurement of cement to granite to bitumen to sand and all of those things are done in the appropriate manner so that that road will last. Thank God for the likes of Dangote that they are using a lot of concrete to construct a lot of roads. But really, road infrastructure, some of the road infrastructure that we have in this country is appalling. Then how do you build a road without a drainage? So how do you expect that road to last? How do you expect the road to last? Are we talking about infrastructure in the electricity sector? Well, you can follow Energy Outlook for that, right? Our energy sector. What is happening? Metering system, all the poor things that are going on there. These are just results of poorly executed, work. It's just shoddy job. So, I mean, look at this power grid or no grid. Some have said vandals. Some have said all sorts of things. But I feel it's just mediocre management and lack of innovation in the power sector. We already know that we have unique challenges in our country. But there are still some estates within this country that they don't even blink their lights. There are some places you will not even see anything called power outage. Why? Because those people, they are intentional about ensuring that they would have power. Right? And they have put in quality management system that ensures that happens. Is it collapse of building? Why do buildings collapse in this country? Why? Of course, it is poor construction standards that reflect our lack of accountability and technical competence in enforcing building regulations. So somebody decides to look away and just give us the money, pay us the bribe, and that's it. So you literally, right, if you want to follow the challenges that we have in our country, right, you will see that there's a pattern. And that pattern, you can clearly tell that it is mediocrity that is fueling that pattern. And how we also have come to embrace the culture of mediocrity. Hospitals, the health sector, some of the challenges. Many hospitals lack basic facility. I've said it several times, how a doctor, just because a friend was spotting, said to go and abort that child. Why is that hospital still standing? Why don't we have standardized structure? Recently, somebody in a school, I digress a little bit, in a school, a toddler died. Why? It's not a standard school. So the same thing in the healthcare sector. Basic facilities, zero. Trained personnel, And these are the same personnel that travel out of the country and they do exceptionally well. People that go through our nursing school, they don't joke with them abroad. The people that go through our medical schools that are graduates of medicine and are medical doctors, they don't joke with them. Same people, different environment. Exact same people, different environment. And this is resulting in heavy reliance on medical tourism. Why? Because we don't have the facilities here. So just picture how much a lot of people spend just to go and get treatment abroad and all of that. Imagine if we had that. And you're complaining that the company, there's no money. There's no money. There's no money. Just medical tourism alone, educational tourism alone, you can tell how much Nigerians would have contributed if we had the right structures in place. So, I mean, it's sad because you see, this medical tourism created a system where the wealthy will continuously seek treatment abroad. I mean, we had a president that spent about 9 months in the UK, right? Our president, every 2 weeks, they come here, just go see you, I'll come back. Only God knows what he's going there to do. While, of course, the average citizens suffer. Why would they fix the hospital? Because why? The people that are supposed to use the hospitals or to understand what the challenges of those hospitals are, they don't even go close to it. Because why? They can afford to travel outside of the country. So if we do not intentionally address some of these issues that we have within our healthcare sector, right? It's only God that would help us. If anything, like a pandemic or something comes again into this country. You could tell, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, you could tell that it's not the lack of competency that was our problem. Because all of a sudden, they knew that this sickness, it would touch all of us. It was not lack of competency. Let me quickly move on because they say my time is up. On the performance in sports, all our talents in Nigeria, because we have refused to invest in our sporting facilities, our training facilities. Look at what has happened. Imagine somebody going for Olympics and all of a sudden realizing that she was not registered. All those things. And when they now do so well, your governor, Dakwa Abiodun, will take picture. This other governor will take picture and all of that. If that same Anthony Joshua was in Nigeria, how well would he have done? Despite us being the largest economy in Nigeria, in Africa, right? Nigeria's over-reliance on oil is still a major problem, and it reflects a failure in our economy. So mediocrity in this country has done so much harm to us. And if at all anything is going to change, we must be intentional. Mediocre leadership, do you want to talk about security and how it has resulted in so much instability, terrorism, banditry, and all of that? Somebody says if we bomb nine forests, we'll get a solution. I don't think we can exhaust this conversation. But thank you so much for listening to my rant today. God will bless you. So before I go, they say I have a WhatsApp message. Sorry, I like to talk. And unfortunately, people are giving me the opportunity to unleash my, my inner talk. It says, hi, mediocrity will hide the attention of a lot of businesses to the country. If the companies see and hear about the lack of improvement, they will not want to invest, and that's the truth. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember to engage us across. If you missed the quote, when small men, think about these quotes, small men attempt great enterprises, they always end up by reducing them to the level of their mediocrity. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.